Welcome back to Quick Hits, everyone. I'm Anna Witte. I hope everyone had a Merry Christmas, had a relaxing weekend, is looking forward to the new year. I certainly am. A lot of fun things happening in 2021 for Charleston Southern Athletics. So today's guest on the show will be starting her season here in a few months. Her name is Holly Clark. She is a redshirt senior on the softball team. So Holly, welcome to the show and Merry Christmas. How was your Christmas?
Oh, it was great. We have so many traditions here that it's like I love to come home for Christmas just for that, to see all my family because we're really close. So it was good.
Well, what are your traditions?
So we have a big family. I have a lot of cousins and we're all super close. So it's just like we always have the same schedule. So like on Christmas Eve, we always go to my mom's side and do, like white elephant games. And then Christmas morning, we go eat breakfast with my dad's side. Then we come back and, I have a lot of little cousins. So it's all visiting everyone's houses to see who got what, that kind of thing. And then Christmas night is my favorite tradition because we always go to my dad's side again and we read the birth of Jesus, the story in Luke 2. So it's always fun just to do that. It's always like a goosebumps kind of moment every year.
Yeah,
So
that's
it's fun.
like perfect holiday traditions too.
Yeah.
Were there any like big hit Christmas gifts in your family this year?
Um, Me and my sister are kind of older, so we didn't really have a lot of like, big things like a trampoline or anything, but my little
Right.
cousins got dirt bikes. So
Oh, wow.
it was hilarious to watch them ride up and down and everywhere with their dirt bikes. So, yeah.
Oh, that's so fun. Cool. Well, to get started, we kind of touched on it before, but your season will be here in 2 months, give or take some time. What have you really missed about your softball season?
Well, the past, when we come home for break, we're here from which like this year we've been here from Thanksgiving till, January 11th. I
Mhm.
just miss being around everyone because it's like we're around everyone all fall because we have pretty much our fall season. So we're around each other all day, every day. And then it's like we just don't see each other anymore. So I've missed seeing everyone and just being on the field with everyone and seeing, how we interact. And that's kind of what I'm looking forward to with, getting back and getting going.
Well, like you said, you guys have been home for, over a month now. It's been a
Yeah.
really long time. What have you guys been doing to stay in touch over your break?
We use GroupMe all the time and we kind of have our own like Snapchat groups and stuff. So we talk a lot. So that's kind of what we use.
Nice. That's awesome. Well, it's good to stay in touch too, like when you guys can't see each other for a long period of time and stay kind of connected in the sense so that when you come back, like it's not like you haven't talked in a long time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, yeah. So, what has the team training schedule been like for the fall and winter?
So for the fall, we did our usual lifts. I think 4 days a week. Yeah, we did 4 days a week. Practice wise, we had our individuals, and then we went into our 20-hour weeks. But it was weird because we didn't play any fall scrimmages. So that was an adjustment because it was just like 3 months of practice, and we never really got to play anybody else besides our inner squad. So it was weird, but then like winter wise, we do everything on our own. So it's kind of like keeping yourself accountable, which we obviously got workouts given to us that were optional. So you can kind of follow that and it's easier to follow along with that. So you're ready to go back when we get back in the spring.
And then now you said you'll be back at school on January 11th and it's like go
Go
time
time.
starting then.
It's go time. Yeah.
Well,
I
when the
think it's
season
January 11th.
yeah, probably honestly, who knows? There's so many dates
Around-
floating around.
Yeah,
Um,
somewhere around in there.
the Bucks were off to a really good start before your season ended last year. I know you guys haven't lost a lot of players. So how do you kind of keep that momentum going in the 2021 season?
I think it's gonna be even better because of what did happen in the spring, because it literally just got taken away like that. I mean, if there's any more, if you needed motivation, we kind of all have it because it shows you how fast it can be taken away. And I'm sure that every other program in the country feels that too, because I mean, I always looked on Twitter after it happened and it was just kind of like everybody was in shock. Nobody knew what was going to happen. Nobody knew, especially the seniors, if we were going to get another year. So I think we're just going to keep the train rolling and just start out strong, which, like you said, we didn't lose a lot of players. We gained a couple, and I think we're going to be pretty strong this year.
I know COVID is still, I mean, obviously it's still here. Is it affected, do you know, your 2021 season at all when it comes to travel? And has coach spoken with you guys about that?
We've talked about it a little bit. I think she's kind of waiting for more of a final say on things. But as of right now, I think we're just full force. We're traveling some. We're not going a super far distance away. I think maybe Georgia, UGA is the farthest that I know of besides conference. But I think Hampton's already called off their spring sports, so that we, I guess we're not playing them.
Right.
So I guess it'll kind of, my guess is it'll kind of change week by week with who has, if they have any cases, if they have any, which is kind of stressful, but I guess it is what it is at this point in life.
Right. You have to model a lot like what the fall sports, or I guess the winter sports are doing, like basketball. We could get
Yeah.
a phone call that the team is playing in 2 to 3 days. So that could be kind of something that we see in the spring sports as well.
Yeah. Yeah. That's kind of what I have in the back of my head that might happen, which if we get lucky and we don't encounter anything, then that's great. But I don't know if that's a realistic,
Right.
expectation or not.
Yeah, you have to be realistic heading into
Yeah.
the beginning parts of 2021, hopefully, at
Yeah.
least. Well, Coach
Yes.
Taylor has expressed her excitement to have you back out on the mound for another season. What have you been working on, or have you been working on anything specifically to get your game better before your last season?
So specifically, I have to work on my changeup, and I have been because when it comes to, which is what I learned, 5 years ago, when I was in my freshman year, is you have to be able to mix speeds, and that's what I try to tell all these young players is you have to mix speeds because these hitters are too good to sit on one speed. Which like we worked all fall on, our spots, our locations, being consistent with our spots. But for me, the big thing is my changeup, and I don't know if Coach Taylor mentioned that, but we've talked about it several times how I have to put that in the mix. So that's what I've kind of worked hard on this fall and this winter.
Do you guys have a good group, a good pitching group where you guys can lean on each other to learn?
Oh, I have never been a part of a pitching staff that's like ours. There's 5 of us, and 4 of us have been together for a couple years now. So, which we took the freshmen in, like, we with open arms. But we're super close. I mean, obviously we all want the ball, but we all can't have the ball, and we know that. So we have a good mixture of strengths too. So like we have a lefty. We have people who are more strong on their changeup. We've got some that are rise ball pitchers, some that are drop balls. So we have a really good mix of strengths that I think it'll really benefit us in the spring.
Well, as a whole, I mean, you've been a part of like multiple teams your entire life. You've probably played, have you played other sports besides softball, or has softball always been your main sport?
I tried to play basketball and it wasn't good, so it's pretty much just been softball.
Okay. Well, each team kind of like brings on a new personality. Would you describe your 2021 Charleston Southern softball team?
Oh, that's a good question because we we're determined, but we like to have fun. Like our personalities, I don't know how many of our team you have met. We have some strong personalities and we have fun. Which we've been trying to get one of our players mic'd up for a long time. So we need to get that. We
Who's
need
the
to do that
player?
this spring. But so we either need to mic up Ree, Anna, or Brooklyn. One of those 3 needs to be mic'd up during practice or something because they are hilarious.
Okay.
But back to the question, I would say I think we're all just determined. Like we're committed to showing up every day and getting the job done, which is what we kind of focused on a lot in the fall. Was just we had a lot of, mental training days where we would just talk about our goals and talk about words we could use when we walk in the locker room every day that would get us focused no matter the kind of day we had for the next 3 hours while we were there to be in the moment and, work on what we were supposed to work on that day. So
Were you able to use the fall as, because you had a lot of extra time, obviously you weren't playing games at all or scrimmages at all, to use that time to get to know each other better and learn from each other? And in what ways did you do that?
we had a team bonding trip, which has been my favorite since I've been here. We went to Cypress Gardens where they filmed The Notebook, and we got on the boards and stuff. It was
The
so fun.
rowboats?
Yes, I couldn't think of what they were called, but yeah, rowboats, not boards. But it was just fun to, be outside the field and get to see each other. I mean, we do see each other outside the field, but you know how it's still busy during the week, with class, practice, homework. No one really has time to go do anything, outside of practice. So that was my favorite thing that we did, was to do that. Right. We did it right before we all came home. So it was kind of like a closure to the fall. So.
Oh, that's fun. That's awesome. Well, you're also involved in the Student Athlete Advisory Committee as well. How did you get involved in that committee?
I believe my sophomore year was my first year, and we had a senior that was graduating, and she asked me if I wanted to take her spot. And so that was something that I was like, oh, of course I will. But I think it's really fun just to have a voice for our team and then get to hear, other teams' opinions on different things and their ideas and all that sort of thing. It kind of helps connect the teams together.
Well, SAC has done a lot, especially in the fall, of being involved in the in the community and being super involved in the athletic department. How important is it for there to be a SAC at Charleston Southern? Or do you feel like, how important do you feel it is to have SAC at Charleston Southern?
I feel like, especially at a small school like CSU, it's really important because it's a way for us to represent our teams, but then our teams to represent our school in the Big South, and then so on and so forth. I think it's important because it helps, small schools like us get our voice heard in the big, in the NCAA, because it's an NCAA wide thing. So I think that's really cool in itself, just to have an organization like that where you can share your opinions, your thoughts, your ideas, and that kind of thing.
That's awesome. Well, I want to hear too, to go back to softball one last time. Is there any school or team that you're really looking forward to playing this upcoming season?
Honestly, I'm just ready to play. Like, our schedule's not finalized. And at this point, with COVID happening, I'm just ready to play. Like, I think our whole team is kind of to that point. Like, we just want to play because we've missed that for the past, 10 months. We haven't played anyone else or really, at all. We had some injuries this fall, so it was hard to do inter squads, but we did what we could. But, it's different playing against other schools. So I think we're just ready to play in general.
Well, you're in your last season as a redshirt senior. We spoke a little before we started recording about your plans academically, but what are you going to be doing this spring?
So starting in January, I'll be doing my MBA in healthcare management, which I'm really excited about because I just graduated with my phys ed degree to teach. So it's something completely different than I've been doing for the last 4.5 years. So I'm really excited about it.
Well, in the fall, you were finishing up your undergrad and you were telling me how you were in schools, but also playing. What was it like being in these schools during a pandemic?
So I was at an elementary school with kindergarten through second grade, and it was an experience because I had to teach on Zoom. I had to teach the kids in front of me at the same time. So it was definitely something that taught me a lot, and I'll never forget it. So, but it was good. It was a lot, but it was good. So
you had kids on their computers at home, but also in the classroom.
Yeah, and doing PE with them is not the easiest, but me and my cooperating teacher, we figured it out. So it took us a little bit to get used to, but the kids did good. The parents were great because obviously you have to have the parents are sitting pretty much beside them. They're little kids. They don't know how to work Zoom, but everything went very smoothly. So,
well, that's good. How did you get them to do PE in their homes? What were they doing?
So when I had them together, we kind of did a video. I didn't keep the kids that were at home on Zoom for 45 minutes. They went and did another assignment on their own. But it was the creative juices were flowing, because it was kind of like, well, I don't know what they have at home. I don't know what, I obviously knew what I was doing with my kids at school because I had the equipment for it, but it was more of just getting them up and moving and off the couch and out from in front of the screen. That kind of thing was more the goal than specifics.
Wow. Yeah, that must have been a very challenging time, especially as a student teacher. You weren't even like a teacher at the time.
Yeah, I was doing my student teaching, but it worked out well. So
Well, after your time at Charleston Southern, do you want to continue down that path of teaching?
I believe I do. I think it's doing my student teaching is kind of, it solidified what I think I'm meant to do. So I'm pretty sure that, that's what I want to do after this next 6 months. So yeah.
Well, awesome. Well, Holly, thank you so much for coming on the show today. We really appreciate it. Enjoy your new year, and we'll see you on campus here in a few weeks.
Well, thank you for having me. It was very fun.